This is Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur with your host, Lynn Freest. Lynn will share ideas and expert advice from people that are walking in your shoes and living their encore careers, where they want and at the pace they want. You'll start a company of one with confidence and knowledge to live a fulfilled life of freedom and ease. Lynn is a coach and leadership consultant whose mission is to show senior leaders and experts how to start something refreshing and new after a full career in the corporate environment.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the podcast, Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur. This is episode 124, and it's the year in review for 2021. So making the leap from being a corporate leader and an expert into becoming a solopreneur can be daunting, but the rewards are great. You can work when you want, where you want, and do the work you love. And I can be that guide and thinking partner for you as you create this new Encore career. As your coach, I'll help you go farther and faster based on what I've learned from being on this journey for several years myself. Well, this episode, number 124, is about my year-end review, just reflections on what happened this year. And the first thing I want to talk about is gratitude. First, gratitude to all of you, the listeners, that have shared this time with me. I very much appreciate it. And I also want to express gratitude for all the people I've interviewed. They've been kind enough to share their thoughts, expertise, and knowledge with me and with you. And then third, I want to express gratitude for my family who supports me in this endeavor, even though they don't always understand what I'm up to. And then finally, I want to have gratitude for all the people who have helped me out. They're my many colleagues in many different arenas. And again, it's just so glad to be moving forward with such a great group of colleagues. So my gratitude goes out to them too. So some simple stats for this last year. I did do 52 episodes, hit one every week. I also did 32 interviews, a marvelous group of people. And we're going to have to see how we can learn from that and, start taking all the knowledge they shared and share it again with you in some way. The average monthly downloads for the podcast were between 300 and 400 a month. And again, my many thanks to all the listeners who are getting value from this information I'm sharing with them. So in July, I pivoted from the Leading the Factory Forward to the Encore Career. Now, I'd been talking about this Encore Career and the Silver Entrepreneur for several months now, and I finally decided, hey, this is the path I want moving forward. So I made that change and renamed the podcast. Now, of course, all the old episodes are still there. And then some of the themes cross over, whether you're doing an Encore career or whether you're in the manufacturing leadership space, things like leadership, those principles still will hold true, and we'll still talk about those. So moving forward, I plan to see what I can do to help people start and flourish in an Encore career and help people that are even considering it understand what lies in front of them and what's possible for them. So the other thing that happened, it was coincidental, but all of a sudden we started hearing about the Great Resignation. And again, that was something that drove me to start the Encore career. And later on, I'll talk about some other research that I did. But the fact that a lot of people my age, younger than I even, were retiring, maybe retiring sooner than they wanted to, or maybe they simply got pushed out. I just felt that, I should give them some opportunities to find a way where they could continue to contribute in the economy and yet not work those 50-plus hour weeks. Because while some of them truly do want to retire and more power to them, I love them, I know some of them would like to still participate. So that's what drove me to say, can I help these people? And then I thought, how can I help these people? I'm not an expert. On the other hand, I do have my own experience. And again, as I'll mention later, I enjoy researching. I enjoy looking for new ideas. So all of this came together and said, yeah, I think I can pull together information from my experience and other people's experiences, just like in the interviews, that can help other people and inform them. And the other thing was that even as we read about this Great Resignation, even from before the pandemic in my work in manufacturing, I knew that we had a labor shortage. As a nation, our demographic was going older, weren't as many young people coming into the workforce, so there was always going to be a problem. Pandemic probably just accelerated some of these things. So going forward, I wanted to make it easier and to be more helpful and develop people who had retired, who had been pushed out into retirement, to help them re-enter the workforce in a way that worked for them, helping them to find work that fits their needs, their desires to work, do the work they loved, And so that's how I thought moving forward I could be of most use. Now, this isn't something I'm doing in a vacuum, nor have I been developing myself all by myself. I have a great number of friends, colleagues, and I want to just kind of give you an idea of the breadth as well as the richness of the groups of people that I work with. And there are 4 or 5 main groups that I want to mention. The first would be the Market Your Message group with Jonathan Milligan. He wrote the book, Your Message Matters. Well, I've been working with that group now for a couple of years. And again, it's just a rich experience to work with peers, work with other people who are trying to create a business. Even though other people in this group have very different businesses than mine, it's just so rich to be able to work with them. Now, the second group I've worked with for a long time now, a couple of years. Now they are under the label of Beyond Emotional Intelligence. Their CEO is Michelle Navarez. I got this coaching certification in emotional intelligence actually a couple of years ago now, but I continue to work with the group as we build our understanding of emotional intelligence, how it impacts us, how we can better understand other people, and how we can better work with people. And this is a worldwide group, so these are people from around the globe. And it's been just such an honor to work with so many talented people from so many different backgrounds. For me, having spent most of my life in the Midwest, although, I love travel, just the opportunity to see all these rich perspectives has been a marvelous opportunity. So again, my thanks go out to them. Then in the second half of this year, I also reconnected with Mike Kim, a friend, colleague, and teacher that I've known for years. He helped me start on this journey. And his new book is You Are the Brand. So once again, I've been able to get involved with a group studying around that book and the processes for You Are the Brand. And it's marvelous. I was just on a phone call today with one of the other members of the group, and we actually had some past connections in business, but still, it's just joy and a pleasure to work with so many people who are enthusiastic and they are creating their own career. They may not be Encore Careers, maybe they're just a brand new career for them, but it's just so great to be with people who are doing this. And then the fourth group is people that I do some volunteer work with. The group is called SCORE. The acronym SCORE stands for Service Corps of Retired Executives. And again, it's a volunteer group that helps small business people or entrepreneurs get started. And I've been, again, locally worked with this group and just been involved with the entrepreneurial process here in our local area for some years now and thoroughly enjoy, again, helping other people start their new dream, help bring it to fruition, help them overcome some of the things that, I have experienced as I started my business, but help them move ahead with their dream. So again, the work with SCORE is valuable. And again, get to meet with a marvelous group of people. And then finally, the fifth group that I've worked with, and this is a group I worked with even in my corporate career, was with Paul Axtall, Rena Gainey, and Lori Glander. And they, in general, work with the skills and ideas around relationships, conversation. Paul even has a book out called Meetings Matter. And he has another important book out, Things to Say to Your Children. How do you, really build strong relationships with your kids based on what conversations you're going to have with them. So again, I've had a chance to work with Paul, Rena, and Lori, and it's been a marvelous experience, and I will continue to work with those people in the future. So those are kind of the 5 groups that I've worked with. I bring this to your attention because if you're choosing to be an entrepreneur, choosing to start an Encore career, it's very possible that your past group of colleagues, the people that you worked with, all revolved around your workplace. They were in the corporate life with you. Well, now that you're out on your own, it's not that you've forgotten all those relationships, but you do need to find new ones. Now, you maybe don't have to be quite as extensive. I'm just naturally curious and love to connect with people, even though I'm an introvert. But again, it's something to remember that you need to connect with people too in whatever journey you decide to make with an Encore career. So continuing on with the review of 2021, COVID obviously upset things last year and this year, still does. It's upset things for me personally. For much of what we did, it's been one of those things that's been both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, to the extent we spent more time at home or not out doing things, it did allow me to trim away some of the busyness or the busy things that I was doing in life that I wasn't really getting joy and value from, nor was I contributing much. So it allowed me to spend some more time focusing The downside was that obviously I could only meet people virtually, and I continued to do that. Zoom was our friend. And, with these international groups, it's marvelous to be able to talk to people all over the world using Zoom. So, that's a blessing that we have these tools available to us. But it was always fun now that, at least during this last year, when things started opening up, you could meet some people in person. And even though Zoom works pretty well, the in-person is always much richer, I think. Kind of curling back to some of the research that's behind why I'm doing this work with the Encore Career and the Silver Entrepreneur. And this, again, as I mentioned earlier, happened really before COVID. When I was working with manufacturing, there was a shortage of people all over. And in fact, I remember there was a study done in the state of Iowa that they didn't just lack skilled people for manufacturing. There weren't enough people in general for manufacturing. So all of a sudden, there just literally aren't enough people. And yet the general demographics are myself, the baby boomers, now even some Gen Xers are starting to hit retirement age and in fact, retiring. Now, as I mentioned in a couple episodes ago, why I refuse to retire, there are some people, this is what they want to do. They, in fact, do. But I'm sure there's others out like me that didn't want to just play golf, do crossword puzzles, play pickleball. Now, it's important to maintain your well-being as you start your Encore career. But for me, that couldn't be the only thing I was doing. It's one of those things where if I can help others move back into participating in the economy in a way that works for them, it's a big plus for all of us. So again, some of the reasons I chose not to retire was I have been coaching for a lot of my corporate life and have continued to do that in my new career. And again, that's something I can keep doing. I think coaching is even more important now than ever because things are changing so fast. People need that trusted advisor, that thinking partner to help them move and navigate through all kinds of new things that are going on, such as, having to start an Encore career. Again, I like making some money. It's not that I'm in danger of living outdoors or anything like that, but it does make it easier. And quite frankly, I think people, when they have money invested in something, they pay better attention. And so they really focus on getting something for their money. And for me, that just makes it a lot easier to serve as an advisor, coach, or consultant for them. And then, as I said earlier, I love ideas. I love to explore ideas. I love to do research. So it's one of those things where I'd be doing this no matter what, but I might as well put some focus on it, put some intention around it saying, hey, this is why I'm exploring all these ideas so that I can help others, find their new career, improve themselves, and maybe learn to help others themselves. So wrapping up, I've come to think that it's interesting. I'm currently I've read several books about people that want to create the second half of life or Encore careers, those kinds of things. But the current one is kind of interesting because he talks about having a multicolored umbrella or a portfolio life. And I think of that as, I mentioned earlier, the different groups of people I associate with. All of those are different colored panels in my portfolio career umbrella. And so that's the thing. I think it's energizing for me to do this variety of things. I look forward to doing it more. And I think that's an important piece is anybody, as they're considering portfolio or an Encore career, it's going to change. It's going to morph. Your interest may change. And don't be worried that you've got the perfect thing designed right off of the bat. I know I didn't. I obviously made a big pivot here in mid-year. You just have to kind of think about it, but embrace it. Embrace the change. Embrace the fact that you'll maybe do something different next year. It's okay, and it still works. Now, in our next episode, I'll talk a little bit more about what my intentions are. I hesitate to say the word plans because life gets in the way, but my intentions are, and I'll share with you in the next episode what that amounts to. So in closing, remember with an Encore career, the rewards are great. You can work when you want, where you want, and do the work you love. And as your coach, I'll help you go farther, faster, based on what I've learned on this journey in myself for the last several years. And you have the time, attention, and money to make this leap, so let me help you. So if you're having thoughts about starting an Encore career, please contact me. Thanks for listening here in the year 2021, and look forward to talking to you again in 2022. See you then.